G'day everybody and welcome back to Star Cub Review. I'm your host as always, Star Cub. Hey, how's everyone doing today? So, today's video is going to be a simple update slash sort of like mini review. And that is going to be on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for the Switch 2, but it is also going to include Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate for the Switch 2, which I have finished both normal and hard mode on this one. And I'm so excited. I have been putting this one off and off for a long time because I don't speak a lot about Final Fantasy VII in general, because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of YouTubers out there that I have had very bad experiences with being attacked and abused because I have reviewed these very favorably on the PS5, and that's just my opinion. I think they're absolute masterpieces. But that's, that's what I'm going to talk about in my review. But before we get into that, and before we start, I just want to say a huge thank you to the 410 subscribers so far. Thank you so much, guys. You know what, I really do appreciate it. To see over the last several days and last couple of weeks, just the numbers going up has just been extremely, it just made me happy. It really has. That, me being a small YouTuber, people do pay attention and people do like my videos. So that's just really comforting. To everyone that is still watching my videos and has been a subscriber all the way through so far, all love and appreciate you. I really do. It warms my heart. It really does. So, oh, and also don't forget, if you want to continue that, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the notification bell to keep up to date with all my content. And throughout the video, my email will be popping up, so you can email me any question you want, or if you want some advice on a certain book to read, or you want to give me ideas on what to read, what to review, and that, drop your ideas in my email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Without further ado, let's do what we usually do and roll the introductory credits, and then I'll see you all after that. Okay, everybody, I am back. So, the review slash little mini talk review on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for the Nintendo Switch 2. I absolutely love it. I absolutely am blown away by how amazing it is on the Switch 2, and this is no bullshit. If anyone knows me, I am not bullshitting when it comes to this sort of stuff. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Switch 2 is amazing. I cannot believe Square Enix even pulled it off, to be honest. It does have pop-ups and it does look a little blurry in places, but you know what? That is in no way a deal breaker for me. I had these two games. I had Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate and Rebirth on the PS5, both deluxe editions, but I have since sold them because I invested in a Switch 2 and I wanted to get these two games on the Switch 2. And after playing Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate in normal and hard mode, this blew me away by how well that this was handled on the Switch 2. Amazing. I didn't have any issues with this whatsoever. I loved the graphics. Everything about it I thought was amazing. When this one came out, I pre-ordered it and whatnot, and I even got the special Zack card, which I have not opened, and it's still in its wrapper. And look at that. That is just absolutely amazing. I'm going to keep that sealed because that will be an investment. Come down the track, collector's item. But I was absolutely blown away by this being on the Switch 2 and the amount of content that was on it, that was on it, that goes into the Switch 2, and they've pulled it off. It's absolutely amazing. You know, same thing, there's pop-up, and there's blurriness and whatnot in places, but you know what? That's not a deal breaker for me. I have absolutely enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Switch 2. I'm so glad I got them on the Switch 2, to be honest, because I have not been able to put it down. I'm almost up to chapter 10 so far, and I absolutely love it. And I've been putting off wanting to talk about this for a long time, and I thought now is the time to talk about it because, you know, I've really got to talk about it. You know, my honest opinion is I think these are both amazing on the Switch too. Absolutely amazing. I've had the best time playing them. You know, I'm a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. I love the original. I love everything about the original. But I honestly have to say, and like I've done some videos on Final Fantasy VII, that I think that, you know, Remake and Rebirth so far have won me over in terms of, I think the Remake trilogy so far is done so much better than the original. Don't get me wrong, people. I am an original through and through, but I'm seeing it from both sides, and I love the original, but I love what they've been doing. I love the fact that they've expanded on the mythology of the compilation as a whole and added a lot of stuff that's not one for one, like a lot of Final Fantasy VII fans out there wanted. I did not want a one for one. I don't like the aspect of one for one. I like the fact that they've jazzied it up, they've changed things up to keep the story fresh, and the route, the direction and everything that they're taking to tell this incredible story arc is just absolutely amazing. But that's some of the reasons why I've held off talking about this, is because I am just so anxious and apprehensive that when I put those videos out there, when I reviewed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I spoke so highly about it, I had so many people from other high-profile YouTube channels absolutely butcher me, you know, privately in messages and on my videos, you know, just really being homophobic, being absolutely disgusting, and just typical aggressive gamers don't understand why, you know, I liked it, and, you know, because I like it, because I think it's an absolutely amazing game. They've done an amazing job. But these people would not back off. They were so horrible, and a lot of them have come from, and I'm not afraid to say this, you know, I'm not afraid to say it. They've come from Asmongold's channel. I don't like the bloke. I think the bloke is an absolute parasite, and I think all his followers are stupid. And the way that they attack, you know, other channels is just really wrong and stupid and idiotic. So again, I'm not afraid to say a lot of them come from Asmongold, and a lot of them too. Recently, I've seen a lot of people on Sebi Webb's channel. And if anyone knows who Sebi Webbs is, he's the guy that completely has an infatuation with literally talking shit about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Remake, comparing, you know, they've ruined this scene to the original scene, comparing it to the original all the damn time, and that's all I see of him. He's just constantly attacking it, constantly butchering it for what it is, and it's like, you know, I can't understand for the life of me. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy VII, just enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy the remake series for what it is, and just stop making idiotic and stupid videos on shit that honestly makes you look like an idiot. Because, you know, comparing a nearly 30-year-old game to the remake series now, where they, you know, they've added new stuff, they've, you know, kept it fresh, and they're doing so much with it. I just think, wow, you really do have something against Square Enix and what they're making and what they're trying to do for the fans and all that. And I just think it's really stupid and idiotic. And to be honest, and no disrespect to him, he's got his own opinions, but I think they're all BS. I think he's full of BS, and I just think he's attacking the game purely because it doesn't match his quality of standards. Whereas I look at it, I'm an original Final Fantasy VII fan through and through, always will be. But with the remake series, they have won me over with what they have done. They have interpreted a lot of scenes completely differently and extended certain scenes and just added a lot of new elements to the story to make it more it just absolutely blows my mind that people don't like this game. People don't like Chadley, people don't like Yuffie, people don't like the voice, Sibby Webb's attacking the voice of Red 13, his childish kid's voice, naive kid's voice, because he's still a teenager. He's still maturing, even though he's 500 years old or however old he is. No, 47 or 48 years of age, when technically he's still a baby. So, and I don't get it. And a lot of his followers have abused the shit out of me in the stuff that I made about Final Fantasy VII. So that's why I'm so apprehensive. But you know what? I love Maximilian Dude for speaking the truth on Final Fantasy VII. I love the way that he speaks about Final Fantasy VII, and the way that he just has a passion for it. He is very much like me. He doesn't talk ill about it. He doesn't talk shit about it. He is, for real, the most real person that has spoken about Final Fantasy VII remake series so far in such a great light. And another person that has spoken about it in really, really awesome light is Dashing David. And I've got to give a lot of praise to Dashing David. I've followed his channel for a long time. I love his content. I love the way that he talks about the original Final Fantasy VII, and I love the way that he talks about Remake and Rebirth and Revelation. And while I will say I don't agree on some of the things that Maximilian Dude says or Dashing David says, or another one that I follow that I really like is Night Sky Prince. And he puts out some really amazing content on all this too. But again, here's another one that he has his own opinions, and certain things I disagree with what he says, because that's just me, I'm different. But they're not constantly putting the developer down or the game down and just absolutely ripping it to shit, and basically just not, they're enjoying the game for what it is, and that's what I really, really want out of it. And that's like me. I'm not a shill, shill, whatever people like to call people for absolutely, loving a game and whatnot and talking so much about it. But, this is why I'm doing this video now and really making a stand and really wanting to get my voice heard. And to all those other, YouTubers out there like myself that are small channels, don't be afraid to speak up and call out certain channels for what they are, because, it's not just in the Final Fantasy VII community. There's so much people like that in the Mortal Kombat community, the Souls-like community, and, Dark Souls and all of that sort of stuff, and Bloodborne and all of that. There's a lot of communities out there that some of them are really, really good, and then some of them I like to just attack, and it's all negative. And I'm really speaking out, and I really want other small channels like myself to really stand up for yourself and believe in your content. And really, if you have a passion and you love that game and whatnot, don't let other people put you down, because I did that for the longest time, and I was afraid to make certain content on certain things, because every time I saw someone else post something, it was so many people just started attacking, and it feels horrible when that sort of shit happens. It really does. And honestly, I can't deal with that. I'm not very confrontational, but if you start talking shit about something that I like and others like and are really horrible about it, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, you know, I got a lot of hateful comments, homophobic, transphobic comments about the fact that I loved Dragon Age, the Veilguard. And I made a couple of videos on it, but since then I've not made any more videos on it since, finishing it and whatnot and platinuming it, because there were so many people out there that were just so homophobic, transphobic, just spoke absolutely disgusting about this game and how much, I'm a liar, and all this kind of stuff. And I don't bullshit people. I tell the truth. I tell it as it is. If I love a game, I love a game. If I don't love a game, I don't like it. And I'll say that in the review. But what I will not do is sit there and constantly berate the studio, the developers, all the people that took the time to make that video game, like so many other people do. You know, Asmongold is one of them. Sebi Webbs is another one. That, and not to mention Critical Drinker, Penguins. I don't know. I've seen a couple of his videos, and some of the stuff that he talks about, I think he's just full of BS as well. But there are so many people that I've seen follow these people, and they're very nasty and horrible to, YouTubers out there that want to tell honest goddamn reviews and like a game for what it is, but they just can't understand why. And they call you woke, this is woke bullshit, you're woke, wake up, get out of America, blah, 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 blah. And I just think in this day and age, you know what, I'm not going to let that bullshit get to me anymore. If I'm woke, I'm woke. At least being woke, at least I'm aware and passionate about shit that's going on. I'm aware that game studios are... some game studios are failing, may go bankrupt, all of that sort of stuff. If I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about it, and I'm woke about it, apparently, because I like this, or I like that, or I liked this movie. But all these followers didn't like it, so let's attack the people that absolutely loved it, and let's crush them to the point where they don't want to make videos anymore. But you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. You know what? I absolutely loved Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and I loved Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Switch too. Hands down, they're masterpieces in my opinion. They've done an amazing job. Cannot wait to see Final Fantasy VII Revelations when it comes. And with that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do not be afraid to drop me an email with anything you want to talk about. If you want me to review certain games or review certain movies or TV shows, I'd be happy to take your suggestions. And yeah, I really hope this has been informative. And I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with all my content. And I will see you all very, very soon with another video. Alright guys, take it easy. Ciao.